Tonight on Si's Eyes on the Skies.
We take a look outside Memorial Union right now. As we can see, it was a beautiful day across the state of Iowa. We got wet weather coming tonight and into tomorrow. Now more on that later in the show.
Plus, AJ has a look at the national forecast. Si's Eyes on the Skies for Tuesday, October 12th starts now.
Live from Studio 171 in Ames, Iowa, the Iowa State Meteorology Department team of meteorologists brings you the latest weather from around the country and out your front door. Iowa State's longest-running television program and the only live weather broadcast on campus starts right now. This is Si's Eyes on the Skies.
Good evening. I'm your host, Marshawn Gunn. We begin with tonight's weather story. On this date in 1962, a storm nicknamed the Big Blow was a Pacific Northwest windstorm that struck the coast of Oregon, stretching down into Northern California and up into Washington. The storm produced sustained winds of 150 miles per hour along with 179 mile per hour wind gusts along the Oregon coast. Within 12 hours, some estimates show that more than 35 million cubic meters of timber was blown down into Northern California, Oregon, and Washington. Unfortunately, the storm caused the deaths of 46 people, along with 100 injuries to more. The total cost of damage was between $230 million and $280 million, which translated into today's money would be between $1.8 and $2.2 billion. To discuss more with what's happening around the country, here's AJ with our national forecast.
Good evening, everybody. As we take a look at what's going on around the country tonight, it's a very busy weather night. We have our first major snowstorm of the year going on out in the Rockies, and we've got severe weather going down in the southern plains. You have to keep an eye out for that, especially as we go into the overnight hours. We've got to look at Hurricane Pamela that's about to make a landfall in Mexico, and I'll have more on that coming up.
Welcome back. Now here's AJ with a look what's happening around the nation.
Thank you, Marshawn. As we take a look around the nation tonight, we've got a lot going on out west. We've got a low-pressure system that's forming out over the Rockies, bringing a whole lot of snow and unsettled weather. And on the warm side of that, we've got quite a bit of severe weather that's going to be firing in northern Texas and out into western Oklahoma, into Kansas, into the overnight hours. We've got high pressure out east, so not much going on over there. And as we take a look closer into the severe weather event that's going on out over the southern plains, we've got a moderate risk of severe weather over western Oklahoma into southwest Kansas. And outside of that, we've got enhanced and slight risk of severe weather. So you'll want to keep an eye out. Really, if you're in any of these shaded colors, you're going to want to watch out for severe weather. But especially in Oklahoma and Kansas, as you get into the overnight hours tonight, you'll want to keep an eye out for supercells that have hail, damaging winds, and tornadoes. We've already had some confirmed tornadoes, so you're really going to want to keep an eye on that as we go into the overnight hours tonight. And as we take a look at the watches and warnings that are going out across the country right now, we've got several tornado warnings over that aforementioned area where they're going to have to watch out for severe weather tonight. And we've got an active tornado warning down there in southwest Oklahoma. So anyone in that area, you're going to want to keep an eye out for that and get to the lowest level of your home in the innermost room. But as we look out over the Rockies, look at all that. Those are all winter weather advisories, winter storm watches, winter storm warnings as that low pressure churns up and brings us a whole bunch of snow and cold weather out there, first of the season. And as we take a closer look in at the snowfall that's going to be coming up on the cold side of this storm, widespread areas of about a half a foot of snow and then isolated areas up to a foot. But then as we take a look at tomorrow, the severe weather threat's going to die down a little bit. You'll want to keep an eye out in the Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa area. You could still get some marginal risk of some thunderstorms. Couldn't rule out a possible severe storm in and amongst that area, so keep an eye out for that and stay vigilant as the day goes on. Also, as you look out into the South Dakota area and down into Texas. And speaking of that area of the world, right now we've got Hurricane Pamela that is churning, and it's going to end up making landfall in Mexico as a Category 2 storm, potentially. And areas in Texas and Oklahoma, you guys are going to want to really watch that as the moisture from that storm comes in and gives you guys a risk for flooding. So you want to keep an eye on that as the next couple days goes by. And if you take a look at temperatures across the country right now, you can really see where that low pressure and the dip in the jet stream has let a bunch of cold air spill into the western part of the country. 32 out in Billings. A little warmer as you go across the southern tier of the country, and you can see on the warm side, lots of warm, unstable air to fuel those thunderstorms that are going to be forming out in the Texas and Oklahoma area tonight. Nicer weather, more fall-like as we get up into the northern part of the country, out into the northeast. And then pretty nice as we continue on into the southeast. As we take a look closer to home into the Midwest, you can really see that boundary where we go from mild air into that really, really cold air. 49 in Bismarck, 33 out in Rapid City. But then warmer as you get out to the west, 67, or out to the east, 67 in Des Moines, 70 in Kansas City, 72 in St. Louis. And as we head out over into the northeast, again, pretty mild, nice, really nice for this time of year. 63 in Augusta, 63 in Caribou. Warm spot out there in Buffalo, 74. And then as we head on down into the southeast, again, pretty mild for this time of year. Not terrible temperatures all around. Low to mid-70s as you look across the Carolinas and into Georgia. Mid to upper 80s as you look into Florida. And then 81 over in New Orleans, 84 out in Houston. And again, as we take a look out here in the west, we've got that low pressure churning and bringing a whole bunch of snow and unsettled weather. Pretty cold, all in all. 39 in Grand Junction, 35 in Durango, 35 down in Flagstaff, 68 in Phoenix, where it's a little warmer, and a little warmer out in Los Angeles. Hot spot down here in Roswell, where it's 86 degrees. And as we take a look up into Northwest, once again, cold, cold, cold. 32 in Billings, 36 in Idaho Falls, 46 out in Missoula, where you guys will, and 28 in Casper, where you guys will be getting snow over the next couple days. And as we take a look at the Futurecast, again, you can see that low pressure spinning and churning, bringing a whole bunch of snow across the Rockies, and it's going to sweep up across the plains and go up into Canada and bring some rain and unsettled weather across the northern plains and northern part of the country. But then you'll want to keep an eye out down here again, Texas and Oklahoma, where Pamela is going to make landfall, and then all that moisture is going to plume up into Texas and Oklahoma and potentially bring flooding. You want to keep an eye out for that. And then as we head into the end of the week, weather's going to settle down a little bit, and it's looking to be a pretty nice weekend for a good part of the country. But as we take a look at the week ahead in our city of the week, Cheyenne, Wyoming, you can see where there's all that where that low pressure is going to go over. You'll have a bunch of wind and unsettled weather. It's going to be cold, and I wouldn't rule out a few sprinkles or flurries here or there, so keep an eye out for that. But then we'll have a nice warm-up as we head into the weekend and then into early next week.
Thank you, AJ, for that forecast. Now, let's take a look at tonight's trivia question. How wide was the largest tornado ever recorded? Was it A, 1.3 miles, B, 2.1 miles, C, 2.6 miles, or D, 3.4 miles? We'll have your answer coming up right now. Now let's take a look with the week ahead with Luke.
All right, as we take another look at the sky cam outside Memorial Union, I mentioned earlier it was a gorgeous day in Ames, all across Iowa. We got that unsettled weather moving in, cold temperatures moving in by Friday. Enjoy those 70s while it lasted. You're not going to see that for quite a while. I'll have more on that after the break. Welcome back. I'm meteorologist Luke Prokosch. As we look at the current conditions right now, 63 outside in Ames. Winds out of the east-southeast at 3 miles an hour. Very calm night as the wet weather moves in overnight tonight. 63 is feel-like temperatures as the dew points are quite low. Very dry air currently right now. As we take a look at the satellite radar, very clear, nothing going on currently right now. You can see the moisture coming up through Nebraska into Iowa right now, and that's just going to cause some wet weather, very unsettled weather for the next 48 hours. Let's take a look at the temperatures across the state. Like I mentioned, 63 in Ames, 67 in Des Moines, very comfortable temperatures. 68 in Council Bluffs, that's your warm spot down there towards Nebraska. 64 in Creston, just widespread 60s, upper 50s. Very comfortable, cool, fall-like temperatures into this evening and overnight hours. As we look at those dew points, like I mentioned, we got that dry air kind of sitting all over Iowa. You know, dew point's 57. It's still quite dry, even though it looks like it's a little more humid up there. It's just that time of year. The moisture's out of here. We got some coming in for the wet weather tomorrow, but that's going to be the last of it for quite a while. As you look at the wind speeds right now, very calm winds for much of the Iowa. As you move towards the western half of Iowa, the winds start to pick up a bit as that system moves in. You got that low pressure moving in through western Nebraska, like AJ mentioned earlier. That's going to bring some high winds and some rain our way for the next couple days. As you look at the Futurecast, like I mentioned, those high winds coming in sometime tomorrow, 24 miles an hour for much of central Iowa, 25 over in Carroll. Very strong winds. You might want to tie down any tents you have up, any banners you have out. Make sure they're tied down. You don't want to lose them tomorrow and into Thursday. You got that wind moving through. You saw that 26, 27, upper 20s, maybe even hitting 30 for some parts through the day tomorrow and into tomorrow night. And as we go ahead and look at Thursday, Friday, winds calm down, coming out of the north, out of the west. It's going to bring that cold air as the low pressure moves by. It's going to cool down, and like I mentioned, somewhere around 50s for Friday. Might want to wear a jacket that day. Let's take a look at the Futurecast. We got that system moving through as a nice line of storms coming into Council Bluffs area, Sioux City, moving towards Carroll. That line will move through, dissipate throughout the morning, bring some scattered showers and thunderstorms for much of Iowa. We got some stronger, localized heavy rain down in southeastern Iowa. Those will move out, bring some scattered showers the rest of the day. Very calm afternoon, 70 degrees as a high, cloudy. It's not going to be a very pleasant day. Winds will be whipping, bringing into Thursday. You got that clouds moving in as we got some possible showers moving in Thursday night and into Friday. And we take a look ahead at tomorrow. Like I mentioned, we got 70, 71 as a high. Very calm, steady temperatures throughout the day. That wind will pick up out of the south, eventually moving into winds out of the west. It's going to be very windy. Hold on to your hats. Definitely grab a rain jacket tomorrow, too. As you look at the forecast lows for tonight, very calm or very comfortable, 54 degrees, 58 degrees, 60 in Council Bluffs. Like I said, that warm sector over there and near Nebraska. Very comfortable. You don't need to turn on the heat yet. It's still October. Forecast highs for tomorrow, 73, mid-70s. Might not even hit 73 tomorrow. I'm thinking more like 71. As that rain moves through, you get that rain, cool air. I don't think it's going to clear up as much to get to that 73. But, there's always that chance to hit 73. Let's take a look at the week ahead. We got that showers and thunderstorms tomorrow. Sunny and 65 on Wednesday, and then the 58 on Friday. Lows in the 30s this weekend, but a very pleasant, very warm start to the week next week. As you start to see the sun out, the nice fall, comfortable weekends. Enjoy the weekend while you have it. Winter is just right around the corner. Back to you, Marshawn.
Thank you, Luke, for that forecast. Let's review tonight's trivia question. How wide was the largest tornado ever recorded? Is it A, 1.3 miles, B, 2.1 miles, C, 2.6 miles, or D, 3.4 miles? I don't know what I think this one is. A lot of tornadoes I've seen aren't that big.
Yeah, most of them are pretty little. I've seen some big ones. There's one that I've got in mind, the El Reno tornado. That was a pretty big one.
Well, that thing was a monster. A nice wedge. Very odd tornado.
It was. Weird track to it. Weird track.
Fair. The correct answer was C, 2.6 miles. I assume that was probably the El Reno that you were talking about.
I think it might have been.
There might have been something close to it, but I don't think anything got up there to the El Reno tornado.
And it looks like on our Twitter, most people got it right as well, with 70% guessing 2.6 miles. Well, that concludes tonight's show. Please be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. You can find every show on YouTube under our Size Eyes channel. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you later. Good night.